Clipper center Avika Zubac, 17 points, 16 rebounds, and 6 block shots. Kawhi Leonard, playing in his second game this season, remains on a minutes restriction to protect his right knee. Leonard had 8 points in 21 minutes. The Clippers are at Denver Wednesday night. The Lakers are back in action tonight. They're at Dallas. The UCLA women's basketball team, ranked number 1 in the nation, is at Purdue tonight. The Bruins are 15-0. 4-0 in the Big Ten. USC's women's basketball team, ranked 4th in the country, is at number 8 Maryland Wednesday night. The Chargers made an interesting move on Monday. They signed free agent running back Ezekiel Elliott. Elliott was cut by the Dallas Cowboys last week. The Chargers might use him in Saturday's wildcard playoff game at Houston. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is for all the folks who appreciate follow-through. Here's a quick recap of the KBLA Talk 1580 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. More than 6.4 million Southern Californians viewed our climate justice billboards and bus shelters. Another 1.5 million people listened to and or downloaded our weekly conversations with African American climate experts. Our KBLA Climate Justice web portal had 2.8 million unique visitors. Thousands more attended our 7 climate justice community events. More than 9.3 million riders saw our climate care messaging on metro buses and trains. And 39 million Americans accessed our C-SPAN Climate Justice Symposium. All told, our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign exceeded 471 million total impressions. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks all of our 2024 Climate Justice partners: LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, Sierra Club, California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., the California Wellness Foundation, MWD, AQMD, and the Port of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life. Been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Look, I'm married to this game. That's who I made my wife. Said I die alone. I told that she probably right. One thing that's for sure, not a stranger to this life. Got a safe that's full of Franklins and a shoulder full of stripes. I don't know it like myself. I say self-made, meaning I design myself.
KBLA Talk 1580. Time to design yourself right now, if you haven't done it yet. So it's time to get it together. That's what we're doing spiritually, mentally, physically, and of course, physically includes our space, our office, our home, our ability to function. And it's amazing how much of a difference these things make. I'm excited to welcome in my friend and someone who's actually worked with me and getting my life together a little bit in terms of organization. She's a co-creator of this incredible show called The Floor Show. She's co-founder and co-director of the Open Floor Society, but that's not what she's here to talk about today. In fact, we'll do that show on another day. That's an amazing thing that brings together dancers and musicians and original live music and dance performances. But she's also a professional home and office organizer. She has been organizing homes, offices, big and small, for the wealthy and the not so wealthy for many years. And it is incredible what she has been able to do. Sascha Escandon, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you in. We're trying to hit on levels and also do things other than obsess about what's happening in Washington, which is really difficult not to obsess about. And I think when we get our mind, body, spirit, homes and offices in order, it helps us to focus on things that are productive rather than just obsessing on things that make us feel depressed and crazy. And I'm imagining that you've seen this time and time again with your before and afters of people's mental being impacted by the physical manifestation of their space.
Absolutely. It's actually one of my favorite parts of organizing is the psychology behind a lot of it, and literally seeing the physical sigh and the shoulders relax and just see all of that weight kind of melt away from my clients once we've kind of pushed through their space and get it to a place where they just mentally feel more relaxed and more at ease. And I agree with what you're saying is this is part of a foundation for everything that life throws at you. And it's also a good practice, kind of a meditative practice, even with support, to kind of just, you don't have control over what's happening in the world at that point. So sometimes it's nice to kind of just go back to what you have control over and start with your space. And that leads to yourself and leads to other better habits. You know, it's very, one leads to the other. So you start eating well, you start using the stuff that you have, you start realizing, oh, this is more accessible, you know, my salad spinner is now more accessible. So now I'm eating salads more. So yeah, there's so many benefits to organizing your space that lead to multiple benefits over and over. And I also get the multiple benefit of, I love doing this. To me, it's a big puzzle. I love interacting with my clients and helping them problem solve the areas that just cause a lot of distress for them. And not only do I get the satisfaction of something I changed with my own hands, but I see their relief and then they're happy. I mean, for me, it's a win all over.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I don't like clutter. I have a hard time thinking. I'm one of those people that many times will have to clean her desk before she can get anything done or move to the kitchen and work on the kitchen table because I get distracted by all the mess. But a lot of times it just feels overwhelming. And I think this is going to take years, months. I'm never going to get it done. And I was really surprised working with you because you worked with me a number of times. But one of them was when I downsized and took my entire floor where I had my production company and put it into a one little office because, because life is expensive. And I just thought how do you get this giant floor into a small room? And we did it. Well, you did it.
Well, I help guide. I mean, I could do things on my own, but it's not the same result. Like I have had clients where I go there and I kind of handle everything until I get to a point where I need their direction. But there's also that big takeaway that I could do it for myself, but I don't live there. I don't access it. So it really is helpful to hear what you need, how you work. Are you right-handed? Are you left-handed? Do you like seeing things or do you like to put things away? There's so many different characteristics and patterns I found in my clients to help them feel like they feel empowered to do things. My goal always, personally as an organizer, is to get to work with a client in a way that they don't need me anymore, only for maybe maintenance, but I'm in the trenches with them to help them know that they can do this. But, life is busy. There's so many, like you said, I work with all income levels of clients. Some people it's disposable income and it's really this white glove type of, work. Sometimes it is downsizing somebody who had to close a business like during pandemic and having to set them up with a home office at home so they can save money and not spend money and know how many supplies they have and not spend money. But, to kind of go about the point about it seems so large and impossible, I always, in moments like that, because it happens to me as well, in moments like that, I think about, how the pyramids were built or how, how, and to not to be morbid, but like how 9/11 got cleaned up with, it's just all these huge, massive things or earthquakes. And you realize it did somehow get cleaned up and rebuilt. So if they could do that, I could do this. I can chip away at this paper pile on my desk. And it's really not thinking, like they say, you take a bite at a time. You don't have to conquer the whole thing in one weekend. And that's just not sustainable. The same as diets, the same as you can't just kind of say, I'm going to do this all at once. Sometimes it's just easier to do a little bit at a time and give yourself grace and patience and allow it to mess up. I think people put more pressure that they should know how to do this.
Well, and it's not one size fits all, right? I mean, you don't go in and give everyone the same cabinets and everyone the same file system, because what I loved about, what I learned working with you is that it has to do with how you function. What are you trying to do?
Exactly.
And what do you reach for? What do you need? And so it's really designing a space that's functional more than clean and neat, right?
Exactly. It has to go off what you naturally, what your habits are. And so you start where your habits are. You don't start with I'm not going to make this space for you, and then it doesn't make any sense to you at all and how you work. The system won't sustain. So if you have this cute little mail, bin in your office, but you constantly open your mail right at your front door, lean towards your habit. Put a little station near the front door. You don't have to live this quote lifestyle or Instagram lifestyle where it looks pretty only. It has to be functional. But it does help to buy things or to use things that make you happy when you use them, so that you do use it often. So let's say, that's why container store is a thing. It seems expensive, or sometimes people
I
don't
knew you were
understand.
going to bring out the container store. They're going out of business. Is that a tragedy or an opportunity or both?
My church.
The Church of Organizers.
Yeah.
But they're having a huge sale right now, right? So the going out of business sale. So if you do need to organize your life, it might be a good idea to go over there, right? Before it's gone.
It's a good thing to check it out. But I also, containers aren't always everything. So yes, I do tailor things to my clients, and certain systems work, there are patterns. So some clients are stackers, some clients are filers, some clients want everything digitally, or some people just need to see their stuff. So there are certain products that are kind of pretty basic that work the same way. But I do see a lot of clients in the beginning who will preemptively just buy bins or things, and it doesn't actually work for what they have going or how they want to work. So sometimes you can get crazy with buying all the stuff, and that's another clutter pitfall, is you're just buying all this organizing stuff, but you really don't know how to implement it. So I think an organizer sometimes is really helpful on knowing what the right products are for you. And sometimes that's not much. Maybe it's just one thing that you just really need to get. You don't have to do, the bins for everything, or decanting, what I call the decanting lifestyle, where everything is in a beautifully crafted glass, jar, so you can see all your treats. I mean, I think we're kind of moving away from that a little bit.
Really? Because I've seen some pictures, I think it was on your socials, where I've seen you do people's pantries where everything was in a matching glass container, and it looked like it was on Instagram. And I thought, well, that looks beautiful, and it would last about 22 seconds in my house.
Yes. And it's true. And I have to be clear with my clients, you understand that this is, like I said, it's a lifestyle. So you have to be willing to, I'm not going to be here every day to refill your containers for you. So is this something you want to take on? And for some people, it's easier. They want to see how much quantity they have of certain things. And sometimes the hybrid, like that client that I showed the picture, they have children. So sometimes that's just not functional when you have kids that are hungry, and sometimes you want them to have snacks, and it's easy for them to grab. And sometimes some things just need to stay in the box because, macaroni and cheese doesn't need to be decanted. It gets used immediately,
Right.
So it's a lot of tailoring, which is another thing that I think sometimes a professional organizer can come in and help kind of guide you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Is to not only help you create a system that works for you, and help you pick out the right products that actually are going to work for you, versus just, bombarding you with putting everything pretty, so to speak.
We're talking with Sascha Escandon. She is a professional organizer, and I want to talk about, when we come forward, some basic elements. I mean, this is a very emotional process. We've got clutter folks and hoarders, and how do we break through that? And just some tips, small tips that we might be able to implement, as well as where do you start? Where do you start? Sascha Escandon is helping us get it together, folks, for 2025 to be our most productive and relaxed year yet. KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Somebody bring out the confetti, baby!
Starting Monday, January 6th, KBLA Talk 1580 has a new midday lineup.
I'm excited.
Are you ready for Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornel West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, and E. Quarterly Corte back-to-back?
Oh, my God.
Are you really ready for all this smoke?
I'm ready, brother.
Yes, we still have Dominique DiPrima in the mornings and Zoe Williams in the evenings, but middays just got lit on KBLA Talk 1580.
We on fire.
All across America, people are talking about our new midday lineup. Starting Monday, January 6th, our KBLA 1580 app downloads are on fire because everybody's going to be tuning in.
Yes, I love you guys. You are the bomb.
Now would be a good time to hit up SMB at KBLA1580.com if you want folks to hear about your business or brand. That's SMB at KBLA1580.com. It's going up in 2025 on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's going up.
That's what I want.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-9651. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, folks got questions for you. Sascha Escandon is my guest, and completely irrelevant sidebar, she also traveled with me to Africa with African Focus Incorporated. We had a great time actually on that trip, so you know exactly what we were talking about last segment. But I died.
So much fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was great having you along. Okay, so they're already asking you for your information. So do you want to give out an email or something? I know you're mostly by referral only. So
yes, I've traditionally been referral only, but I am going to become more efficient on being an online presence. So talk about rebranding. My organizing company is just me, SREOrganizing @gmail.com. That's S as in Sasha, R as Renee, and E for Escandon. Organizing @gmail.com. So they can reach me there as I get back on social media and a website that will be of the same name.
SREOrganizing at gmail.com. So I was going to go to some other components, but I got a DM here saying they want to know if you've always been organized. Were you just born that way? Or is this something you disciplined yourself to do, or were you like a little organizer child?
It's really funny that's a good question, because I actually am a recovering hoarder, daughter of an organized hoarder. This is a consumerist country, so it's very easy to accumulate a lot. It's usually how I explain to foreigners when they ask me what I do for a living is, I preface it with, this only makes sense in America mostly because we just overconsume. But I have always, I don't know if organized is the right word, but as a little girl, I like putting things with like, as they say. So my mom would take me to the fabric store, and I would sit with the button trays and just put them all back together. Or when banks had brochures on a little round kiosk thing, I would just get out of line and put them all back in order. So I was a strange child. So I've always liked doing those things. And, my mom was never afraid of a mess, and putting things away and labeling them. And, we had a lot of variety of things. So I kind of think it picked it up from her. And then I would help my friends do this, and not realizing it was called organizing until someone asked me to do it for them and offered to pay me, which I thought was crazy. And said, no, that's what it's called. It's organizing. And then another friend told me, yeah, there's a whole association called NAPO, and it's National Association of Productivity and Organizing. So when I reached out to them and went to their conference, I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. It was just, so I think there's a lot of different types of organizers. There's obviously the A type. I don't consider myself A type. I just like puzzles. I like helping people, and I like solving problems. So for me, and I like working with my hands. I like physically seeing a change. So I think it's a bit of both. I think I've always liked things to be better. As a kid, how can I make this better? How can I be more efficient? And I'm not afraid of mess. And but I've also acquired a lot of skills through NAPO and the people I've worked through that I've met through NAPO when I was a member, and learning kind of tricks of the trade under other organizers when I assisted them. So I think it's a combination. I think it's something you can also learn. And for me, the most important thing as an organizer is to really listen to your clients and kind of get to what they're trying to achieve versus me going in and organizing it the way I would like it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I've also experienced that. It's interesting that the name of the association includes productivity. So they are implying in that name that by being more organized, we automatically become more productive, which makes sense. But I don't know if all of us really clock that.
Yeah, I think people don't realize, well, actually, when I first joined NAPO, they were actually National Association of Professional Organizers, and they have now since expanded that to that current description. But I think a lot of people don't realize how much they're carrying around with them daily when their spaces are defunct or when they have too much that they can't control, and they're literally easing out of the spaces of their home. So like you said, you have an office space, and then if that gets too cluttered, you move into the living room, and then you move into that, and then the dining room. And I think people just kind of adapt to new norms versus tackling what makes them scared. And when you do have something, you don't have to have everything in its place all the time, because for some people that's very stressful to be overly organized. But if you can get it to a place, it's more the system. You have to find a system that works so that, let's say it gets messy. Okay, it should take 15 minutes to put things back, and it shouldn't be too stressful to put things back. It shouldn't be, oh my gosh, I have to clear out my whole garage this weekend. It's like, that's stress. So you want to kind of make it so that it's an easy fix, and just chipping away. And we're even working with clients. We try something and we say, this is on a trial basis. We test it out. And if I come back, I ask you what's working, what's not working, and then we adjust. So sometimes something you think is going to work won't work out. If not, I give up. But you got to keep trying a little bit. And it absolutely makes you more productive in your day-to-day, in your morning routine, in your later routine, in your knowing what you have. It saves you money because you're not buying things that you already have. Things don't expire. You save a lot of time and money, and you release a lot of the stress that you're carrying around. That's why I do see that physical reaction after, like, I feel like I could breathe now. So that's always a big benefit.
And there's definitely an emotional component. I mean,
absolutely.
I think, is that why people hoard? You say you're a recovering hoarder. Your mom was an organized hoarder. My mom was definitely a hoarder and not an organized one. I had to clean out that whole place in 2.5 weeks. It was insane, the things. And exactly what you said, there were bins and containers and organizing tools that are just adding to the clutter. But part of that is emotional, like even touching it, right?
Absolutely. It's there is a lot of psychology and there's actually, it's in the psychologist book of diagnoses. I forget the name. But there are 5 levels of hoarding, 1 through 5. And in a hoarding situation, you have to be very sensitive and very patient and really work that.
DSM. It's called the DSM-5.
Yes, the DSM. So it's also something that is always recommended to have kind of a support system for the client, just the way they say if anybody's ever watched the television show. It's good to have some therapy component to what you're going through because buying is emotional. My mom, a lot of that was an emotional fill is you go out and you buy because it's kind of a distraction to face the things that you're not addressing. So it's easy to go shop and have that kind of like, same as any other addiction. It fills that gap and then you're left with having to deal with it. It's absolutely emotion. I also, especially, I think it's generational as well. Past generations, tend to hold on to things longer and worry about scarcity and not having and things that are useful and, using them. They were made differently. Things were lasted for generations. Now things are kind of more disposable. So it's a combination of those things and not kind of getting rid of anything because it could be useful. So I think the way to start combating that is you kind of have to stop the water from leaking first, and then they kind of get rid of the things you can. But the way to kind of combat some stuff coming in, you have to kind of start it at the door. Like, don't say yes to the plastic bag. Don't say yes to the paper receipt if you don't need it. Don't say yes to free things if you don't have space for it, if you don't need it.
Got it. Okay, we've got news, traffic, and sports right here. Then we're going to continue our conversation with Sascha Escandon. She is a professional organizer, and we are getting it together early in 2025 with KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. A winter storm has caused at least 6 deaths across the central U.S. since Saturday, with dangerous snow and ice leading to fatal accidents in Missouri, Kansas, and Illinois. Former President Jimmy Carter's body will arrive in Washington, D.C. this afternoon, where he will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda until his funeral at the National Cathedral on Thursday. Enrique Tarrio, the former Proud Boy serving a 22-year sentence for his role in the January 6th Capitol riot, is seeking a pardon from President-elect Trump. His attorney claims Tarrio is being targeted for his political views. And America's first human bird flu death has been confirmed. CDC officials say the person who died was over 65 years old and had underlying medical conditions. There have also been 66 confirmed human cases of bird flu in the U.S. as of 2024. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers lost a close one in Minnesota last night. They fell short to the Timberwolves 108-106. A strong game from Clippers center Ivica Zubac, 17 points, 16 rebounds, and 6 block shots. Kawhi Leonard, playing in his second game this season, remains on a minutes restriction to protect his right knee. Leonard had 8 points in 21 minutes. The Clippers are at Denver Wednesday night. The Lakers are back in action tonight. They're at Dallas. The UCLA women's basketball team, ranked number 1 in the nation, is at Purdue tonight. The Bruins are 15-0, 4-0 in the Big Ten. USC's women's basketball team, ranked 4th in the country, is at number 8 Maryland Wednesday night. The Chargers made an interesting move on Monday. They signed free agent running back Ezekiel Elliott. Elliott was cut by the Dallas Cowboys last week. The Chargers might use him in Saturday's wildcard playoff game at Houston. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attention Los Angeles County renters and landlords. Starting January 1st, 2025, there are new rules limiting rent increases for rent-stabilized units in unincorporated LA County. Most rent-stabilized units will have rent increases capped at 2.565% from January through June 2025, with exceptions for qualified small property landlords and luxury units. To learn more about the new changes, visit rent.lacounty.gov. This message is brought to you by Los Angeles County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs.
Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Get out the way. Ooh. First things first with Dominique DiPrima at 6 a.m. Tavis Smiley at 9 a.m. Truth Time with Dr. Cornell West and Nina Turner at 12 noon. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show at 1 p.m. The D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show at 2 p.m. A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nee Quarterly Quartet at 4 p.m. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Tune in weekdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the talk of the town. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Thanks to the generous support of the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation, we were able to donate 545 pounds of coats and blankets to the LA Mission this winter season.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
The LA Mission expressed its deep gratitude for our gift all over social media, but we wish to thank them and all the other service providers who look out daily for the less fortunate in our community, finding our happy by being helpful.
Hallelujah.
We're KBLA Talk 1580, where we do more than just talk.
Somebody's been praying for me.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Sascha Escandon is my guest. She is a professional organizer, organizing homes and offices by referral. So if you email Sascha, you're going to need to say you were referred by KBLA. Yeah,
Exactly.
First things first. You were referred by First Things First is SREOrganizing at gmail.com. So there's a study, I think it's University of Nebraska, that just came out saying that messy people that cuss a lot, are more intelligent. That's what it says. They don't sleep, their place is a mess, and they curse like sailors. Apparently, University of Southampton is one of the areas that found that this is a thing. I feel like this is probably going to undermine your work in some ways, but what's your takeaway?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I actually agree with all of that. I have been really fortunate that I've worked with a lot of creatives. And it's funny, I had one client tell me once, I'm a little nervous that if everything goes away, that I won't be as creative. And another client who gets prompted by the stuff that they see for their creative ideas. So I don't try to. I don't think it undermines it if I had the mindset that everything has to be put away, because again, that would be my perspective. And even I'm messy and I curse a lot. People always ask me. There's also this shame factor at the beginning of every first session with the client is, oh my gosh, your house must be perfect. Is it perfect? I was like, absolutely not. I don't. That's also, to me, it's another extreme when everything is too.
I think those are people who haven't been to your house. It looks pretty perfect to me. But anyway.
Yeah, but you open a drawer, like my socks and my underwear aren't completely folded in like little.
It's not Marie Kondo. I mean, I actually did change all of my drawers after I watched that show, like rolling my clothes.
Yes,
did it stay that way? I don't know.
Some things, you have to hybrid it. Some things work for you, and you have to pick the things that work for you. If it feels like it's a job and it's stressing you out and it feels more of a chore than it's benefiting you, that's not the way for you. So, there's got to be takeaways. I think I do agree with that study. There's a lot of, you have to let your mind kind of wander. But if it's keeping you from being your most productive self and it's causing you stress to see the clutter, then you have to change that. So I think it's good to do hybrid of whatever works for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I cuss a lot too off the air, and I try not to, but I end up doing it.
It's so hard.
But I mean, this University of Minnesota study says that when a psychologist sums it up to say disorderly environments can inspire breaking free of tradition, or they can inspire you sitting there wondering where everything is. So I think I do think there's something to be said for getting a professional to help you, or learning some tips to help yourself to find that in between space between my mom's house and Sascha's house. So how do we start?
I think if you feel that it's just very overwhelming, sometimes the organizer can help you to kind of just point out, certain things you can do, help you steer you in the right direction. Again, organizers are like therapists. Sometimes you match up with somebody really well. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes your styles are, fluid, and sometimes you don't. So, it's a trial and error process. But I think we have enough information and experience that we can kind of help you air out what you feel like the problem is. Like sometimes we'll translate your feeling into actionable steps. So if you're saying, a client will say, I need to work on my garage, or I need to work on let's say my office. I'll walk in the house and I'll say, okay, can I see other spaces that you have? And they'll go, like this other room's a mess. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see where the pain points are so I can help you. And sometimes the answer is not the space that you're in that you feel like is a problem. Sometimes the answer is you don't have anywhere for that stuff to go. So let's look in the garage. Is there a space that we can kind of clear that the things that shouldn't be in your office, like extra toilet paper or extra paper towels or Christmas items, is there a space in the garage we can start first to kind of lighten the load in your office so that your office is only the office stuff, so that when you go in there, you know what you're walking into. So sometimes it's good to start where can things go if they're not in the same category? That's another place to start. What is in a room that doesn't belong there, that's not for the function of that room? I always see a mixture of like, well, we couldn't find anywhere to put it, so we put it in this cabinet. But why is your printer in the kitchen when you do? So you have to get up every day to like get your piece of paper and you're walking back and forth. How can I make everything more reachable?
Yeah.
The easiest way is pick a drawer. Pick one drawer that you hate. Where do you hate? Where do you not want to go? Pick that first. Sometimes that's better with an organizer at your side, and sometimes pick something easy. Like I want to do like my makeup drawer. I want this drawer to be just my makeup. Let's try that.
Yeah. I love what you said about not bringing more stuff in. Sometimes free stuff is not helpful because it's just clutter. And maybe I don't need another bag. Molly Bell says, I think everything that I have saved is important. I only let my real close friends who are like or understand me in. Most is stuff I want to document. And then she says she's going to save this episode. Kwamel says, I hang on to something too long and then it develops sentiment. I think the sentimental value, that's what I was talking about. And I know you've helped me with something that's like, I mean, I gave the example the other day when you weren't here of the CDs, right? Because I had all these shelves full of CDs. And I don't ever play them, but I like the cover and I liked the artwork, and maybe I might one day need it if the internet, streaming decides to ban the Goody Mob or whatever. And you got it. We got rid of the shelves and we ended up putting them in books, taking out that cover art and putting it in little slots. And now it takes up the space of 2 books on a bookshelf instead of a whole wall. That's something I never would have thought of. And it's a simple thing that cleared up space for something else.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of emotional things. We put a lot of emotional things into items. And I'm never there. I think there's a misconception, too, that organizers are there to throw your things out. I personally don't like to work on that. I'm not there to throw your things out. If you want to keep it, let's keep it. But let's preserve it in a way that you're going to be able to access it and it's going to be protected. So if you have like photo albums that are just collecting dust and could be damaged because they're in the garage and not really preserved well, let's get a waterproof or airtight bin to put them in, and let's clean them up and put them so they're all in one place that you can access them. I'm not about throwing things out if you want to hold on to them. The question has to be, are you holding on to it because, is this one T-shirt you're holding on to because somebody gave it to you and you feel guilty for throwing it out, but you really actually don't like it? That's different. Because you're of the generation of like, well, when they come over, I need to put it out. That's fine. All those things are fine. It's when it starts affecting your day-to-day life and it starts causing you stress. I say, if you're going to keep something that has sentimental value, either display it or store it to preserve it where you can access it easily, versus just stuffing it in. There's a lot of people have like, oh, I have all these things, but they're getting damaged, they're not taken care of, and you don't really, if you really cared about it, you want to treat it that way, which is very Marie Kondo. Like, you want to treat it like it has value. So if you can find a way to display it versus just keeping it in a box. For instance, both of my parents have passed, and I've had to go through those things. And that is actually another organizing niche, is end of life organizing, helping people clear their family's items and what to do with it. At first, 2 years it took me to touch my dad's things, and I'm an organizer. I thought I can do this, but it's very emotional because it's a reminder. But then once I got to the place where I could start working through it, I had 2 boxes of clothes. I said, but in a box, it's not going to do anything for me. So I decided to take 2 jackets and a T-shirt and keep those. The jackets I'm getting tailored to fit me so I can actually wear them, and the T-shirt I wear as my night T-shirt. So finding ways that you can creatively either display it or use it or preserve it in a way that you can access it when you want to see it, I think are the better ways to go versus you're just keeping it just to keep it.
I mean, some of us who came up not having things, come up poor, low income, whatever, we do think, well, I might need that.
Yeah.
Even if we don't ever need it. So I guess the question is about that. And also, why is it that it seems to become more of an issue as we get older? I mean, somebody in the chat says they are the one that always has to clean up after the hoarder, but the hoarder doesn't want to let the stuff go. So that was kind of 3 questions in one, but I know you can handle it.
So that last one, the hoarder, I have worked with children who are, children of hoarders, and it's very distressful. And usually, it kind of makes the child either another hoarder or they go completely the other direction, and it's a cause of friction between the parents. And I've had this with couples, and the same thing. It's one is more distressed. It causes conflict. For a hoarder, it's a very touchy subject, and it's better to have somebody who professionally does it, because what will happen is there'll be a lot of resentment and a lot of, digging your heels in. You can't tell somebody to get rid of their stuff. You can encourage them and show them ways that they can eventually see the benefit of letting go of some of the things that they want and are ready to let go. So that's one. It is hard to be living in that situation. I think the better way to do that is like similar to dealing with narcissists. You have to kind of find your own path. So if this is not a comfortable situation for you, you might want to consider moving somewhere else and letting them live that way. I hate to say that. If they want help, they have to be willing to. You can't push help on people. If they want the help and they're like, I finally got my wits end and I can't do this anymore, I need help, that's the only time it's going to work. If your people are cleaning up and moving their things, it's going to be a bad scenario. So I don't recommend that. And I know it's stressful usually for the person that's having to deal with it. But if you can get a professional organizer that has experience and then partner that with some kind of therapy aspect, it usually will help. What were the other two questions?
Well, I'll ask them to you when we come forward. Why is it more of an issue for, elders? And, how do we deal with, the outcome of that? Like, I'm thinking about elders, I'm actually specifically thinking about my mom and how it became unsafe for her to even walk around because there's no clear passageways in the home. So we can start with that when we come forward. We're talking with Sascha Escandon. We're getting it together. We're organizing with a professional this morning on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
So this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Taxes was waiting around for your taxes to be done, which led to worrying about not getting any money back. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes in a day to get you up to $4,000 fast with a refund advance loan. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Expert filing only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Refund advance has $0 loan fees and 0% APR. Refund advance loans may be issued by First Century Bank, N.A. or WebBank. Terms apply. Subject to approval.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Sascha Escandon is my guest, and we're talking about organizing our lives, which, of course, intersects a little bit with hoarding. So, okay, the kind of speed round here as we get to the end of the show. Time always flies here. But one of the things is if we grew up poorer, or less resourced, sometimes we have the tendency to just want to keep stuff. I might need that other roll of tape. I might need that T-shirt.
Yeah, it's very common. I have had a lot of clients who come from backgrounds where they had without, and now they're more successful and they're able to have more. So there's that emotional part of accumulating because of that, and harder to let go. I definitely think it's a generational thing that's starting to phase out a little bit, but we're still there. Again, I think the only way you can do that is with professional support and a community and patience. And it's not going to all, it got accumulated over at least 30 years, and it's not going to be gone in 2 weeks. Yeah. So some patience and some grace to the people that are involved or that are having to, deal with it. The person at the center, even more so, is a lot of grace. And sometimes it's not something you can fix very fast, so that's a problem. But again, it's like if it's causing you stress, so sometimes you kind of have to clear space or ask permission. I think if you're dealing with this, you have to constantly ask permission. May I bring this out of the case? And you have to show them everything, because you have to build some trust there, so that they don't think that you're just going to throw things away. And if you do throw something away, you have just eliminated all the trust. So you just say, can we put this here? Oh, this is, and let them talk about their history of that item.
Yeah.
Like, let them bring back a memory from that and share it with you, because I feel like sometimes that gets lost and that needs to be heard. So that way you can say, well, why don't we display it? Can we display it like on your bookshelf? And then little by little, they will come to the point where, oh, that feels good. And it becomes more of I think if you can become more gentle with that process, it becomes less stressful. If you don't have the patience for that, then maybe hire a professional to help with it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a huge difference. I was astounded, with how patient you were with me, and it helped me think through the process of, do I really need that? and what place should it have? The other thing we do, I think, is we waste. I can't believe how much money Americans waste on storage. Yeah. You're paying $300, $400, $500. I mean, and even the space that we're using for boxes of things we never look at in our own homes, when you think of what we're paying for rent in LA, is a huge expense.
I'm in the wrong business. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have, heard how much people are spending and the stuff that they never see, or at some point after all the years that they have spent on storage, that they can't afford it anymore, and then it gets taken away. Yeah. Again, is this stuff important to you? And if it is, just keep it close. Obviously, for myself, I live in a very small place, so I do have to have a small storage unit for certain items. But even then, I'm like, what can I get rid of? How can I downsize this? Where can I place some of these items that I can't, fit in my home? I think my dad actually gave me the best advice when I was younger. I had a storage unit, it was $200. And I said, I have to pay for health insurance. He's like, how much is your health insurance? $200. And how much is your storage? So, sometimes we have to be real with ourselves on where we're putting our money and what is it used for? And if it's stuff that we're not using, either start using it or let things go or give it to somebody who can use it. Non-sentimental items, obviously, I'm saying. Like your CDs, it's, that's a good thing now, because the digital music is not going to be accessible to us all the time. So it's good that you have the CDs.
Right. But now I'm glad they're in 2 books rather than a whole wall. Yeah. Simple tips that you could share. We're tight on time here. So maybe just 1 or 2 things that, have been eye-opening for folks.
How to narrow it down. Simple. Well, one, there's the tricks of the trade are, make a few piles. The ones that you keep, donate, and trash. Kind of just and then start with like. Okay, I'm in my closet. Let's pick out all my skirts, put all my skirts together, put all my shirts together, put all like with like, and then just kind of give yourself either bags or bins and just do a quick sort.
So the piles are donate, and trash. Those
Keep,
are 3 piles.
Donate and trash.
Got it.
3 piles. And then when you're done, sometimes this is fun with friends. Make it fun. Like, bring friends over. Have some snacks and things and talk and have fun with it if you feel comfortable. But also don't make it a chore. Put on good music. Pick one section. Don't try to tackle a whole section over a weekend. You're just going to stress yourself out. And, but I would say start with those are tricks of the trade. Take like with like, pre-sort, and then make an action. Keep, donate, trash, and then put it all away. Don't finish the day without putting it back.
Mm. And what about the danger part? I mean, just in a quick encapsulation, I thought about obstructed hallways and tables and chairs for our elders that have a lot of stuff everywhere.
Yeah. Again, if they're open to it, if the dangers, if you can clear the paths and put things out, again, I have to say that for hoarders, that is a specific and more involved situation where a professional is usually necessary. It's a lot for a child or relative to take on their own, but they can. If that's the resource you have, then you just have to be patient. You have to ask and say, we're going to do this because you can't walk, but be ready because it's not going to go down without a fight, or they'll be ready for it. And you just have to be gentle. So obstructing pathways and clearing things, again, if you touch things, though, it's going to be a little bit of an issue if there's no trust there involved. But the hoarding is kind of a serious, more involved situation.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm also talking about those of us who are working on getting our own spaces together, right? So I love the fact that at least in my experience with you, it's function and purpose over aesthetics. That it's nice if it looks pretty, but the main thing is for you to be able to have the most efficient and intuitive use of the space.
Yes, and sometimes I like to include beauty into that because sometimes that makes it more fun. So you start with the function. How do you work? How is this going to function? What is your dream for this to be? Start there. Then make the function happen. And then if you can utilize beautiful items to help you with that function, that is only going to make it easier to keep up. So instead of like a Kleenex, I need a Kleenex here, but I don't like looking at this paper box. How about a nice vase? Pick something that you like, that you want, that makes it happy for you to do that task or to put things away. If it's a beautiful file folder, or if it's a beautiful tray, or a bowl for your keys that always are in the same place, it makes you happy to put those things back. So if you can add beauty to your function, it actually compounds the benefit.
Sascha Escandon, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you, same.
Tavis Smiley's up next. He's ready. He's got a great show on deck for you today. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and don't forget to tap in with me on all the social medias at KBLA 1580 or DiPrima Radio. Like my mama used to say, history is now, and yes, we are making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. A winter storm has caused at least 6 deaths across the central U.S. since Saturday, with dangerous snow and ice leading to fatal accidents. Will arrive in Washington, D.C. this afternoon, where he will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda until his funeral at the National Cathedral.